I'm Rev.Jessie Brandon, and you're watching Epiphanies. I'm a life cycle celebrant as well as a metaphysical minister, and this is my playland where I get to bring my two greatest loves together, people and books. So I hope you're all cozied up with something nice to drink, and we're going to go ahead and talk about A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. And I absolutely love this book. I have the book, I have tapes, yes, long before CDs there was tapes. And I'm here today with my guest, Danielle Reaume. And she is a fun, energetic, and positive woman who loves the ability to bond with and build genuine relationships. She's a board-certified NLP practitioner and coach, master of timeline therapy, and master of hypnotherapy, as well as a practitioner of the quantum change process, which everybody refers to as QCP.
Yes.
So that's all I'm going to read, because the rest I want you to tell us about.
Sure,
so,
absolutely.
Why did you choose to bring this book to Epiphanies today?
Well, looking for romantic love has always been such a passion of mine in my whole kind of adolescence and upbringing. And this book just spoke to me in so many ways because it wasn't nearly what I thought it would be about. Going into this book specifically, and there's so many messages that connect with my purpose, with what I want to share in the world, and it just connected so deeply with me. I couldn't not, you know?
Yeah.
You know, like when you have that thing that you can't not do.
Yeah.
That was one of these.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was there something specific, or is there something that you want to read to us about the book that just really spoke to you?
Well, one of my favorites, so there's this line that for years and years, they thought that somebody else had said these words, and it actually was Marianne Williamson.
I love that.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll just read like the first part of it, but it's, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. And it goes on. But what a powerful sentiment. It's not we're so afraid to shine our truest, brightest lights.
Absolutely.
And there can be so much, we can have fear or love, but we can't have both at the same time.
Yeah.
And so a lot of my journey and what I see with clients and everything is when we can remove the fear, get out of the fear and move towards love, we can be living on purpose and living like who we were put on this earth to be. Marianne talks a lot about it, and I do a lot as well, in that there's so many patterned in beliefs that come out throughout our lives. Like, we're born these divine human beings, right? And unscathed, so to speak. And then we read, we see media, our family experiences, everything that life brings us, and they get these patterned in beliefs, you know, how our parents did things, what the kids at school are doing, etc. And somewhere along the way, we lose that light.
Yeah.
Or we don't want to shine it, right? We want to dim that light.
We're fearful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's that fear.
Yeah.
And so there's just so much beauty in this book. I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah. Okay, well, you know what? May I see the book for a second?
Absolutely.
Because it's been so many years since I read this book, and I know that, oh, I love this. I opened it up, and it says, living in the present, all your past, except its beauty, is gone, and nothing is left but a blessing. And that is just so amazing to me, because I found myself recently heading to a speaking engagement, and I don't do notes, and on my way there I began to think about what was I going to talk about, how far back into my past was I going to go to show what my journey had been. And I realized that what I was doing was listing all of the things that had happened to me that in reality were for me, and I was counting them as blessings. And I got this big grin on my face, and I started to laugh. I probably looked like a lunatic driver, people going by.
Totally.
But that's exactly what I realized, is that everything except the beauty was gone, because everything had been a blessing.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be who I am if not for that. So that, to me, that's divine universe right there saying, you know, here's the truth.
Yeah,
and
like,
that's
so connected.
Yeah, her book is just so full of that.
I have actually something in there highlighted I'd love to read.
Yes, please. I always invite my guests to read if they want to, because I think there's nothing more impactful than them saying what touched them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it just talks all about how we can be so worried about our own readiness, and it doesn't take a very religious form, the book, necessarily, but it does talk about God and the Spirit and those aspects. And it talks about how when we are, it is not you doing the work, but the Spirit who is within you. And forgetting that can cause fear. So the presence of fear is a sure sign that we're trusting in our own strength. If you're trusting in your own strength, you have every reason to be apprehensive, anxious, and fearful. But none of us have the capacity to work the miracles, but with the power that is in us and from us, there's nothing that cannot be done. And yeah, it's
absolute truth.
Yeah, exactly. And when we're doing things in love instead of fear, and when we're serving, there's especially a favorite piece of mine from a relationship standpoint. So when I first picked this book up, I thought, a return to love. I'm going to learn something that's going to help me in my romantic relationship that I'm aspiring to at the time. And of course, you start reading the book, and yeah, there's a section on romantic love, but so much more of everything, I think, in our journey, in our lives, is about the love we find within ourselves and coming back to the love that we have for ourselves and then to give others.
Yes.
And that's the biggest power we all have, really.
Yeah.
And so on the romantic section, it does talk about egoic love versus a more divine love. And so that egoic love is, I want to attract a partner and I want them to fulfill these needs of mine. But then once they've fulfilled those needs, see you later. We're gone.
Yeah.
Because we've gotten what we wanted.
Yeah.
Whereas a divine love says to my partner, show me all of you. Show me the beauty. Show me the insecurities. Show me the things inside of you that you're maybe not comfortable with. And be all of who you are. And I will accept you for every part of you. That unconditional love component. And taking the ego out of it.
That is so beautiful. And it's funny, because we do go into romantic relationships with the idea that this person they're the other half of me. They'll make me whole.
Yes.
They'll become everything that I need. They'll meet every, want and need that I have inside me. And that isn't it at all.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is so beautiful that she talks about true love.
Yes,
unconditional love.
Exactly. And for one another, for ourselves, for everyone, and really even from a space of some of the work that I did personally in my coaching journey with my own life coach. There was so much to come back to myself with. I had been focusing outer so much, focusing on the exterior, what everybody else wanted, what everybody else needed, and I was really abandoning what I needed, and to show myself love and to accept myself for all of those different phases and pieces of life.
Yeah.
The good, the bad, and the ugly, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And did you find that made you more able, when you began to allow yourself to be who you really are and to say what you need and just live your life according to your own core values, that what that does is, either if you're with a partner that you stay with, they grow too, but you love them in a different way because you've learned how not to put upon them the things that you need. You can give those to yourself.
Exactly.
Firstly, and secondly, you can articulate them better instead of just something turning into a big argument because he didn't put the laundry away, when in fact what you need is a tidy home because that's the way your mother always was, and so it needs to be that way for you to feel okay in this mom who still lives in your head.
Yeah.
And so he's wrong because he didn't do it. It's got nothing to do with him.
Exactly. I talk a lot about perception is projection. So what I'm perceiving in another is really a mirror back to something within myself that I'm healing or is connecting to me. Is those pet peeves that we have, right?
Yes.
How many of them are really a connection to something within ourselves that we need to heal? And with that romantic love, I've realized, maybe in my younger days, people, you start to date and you get to see the little quirks that maybe we hide at first, right? We put on our best selves at the beginning of a relationship. And then almost like more of the true qualities start to come out. And in the past, it used to be such a, you know, if something was, it's just like that egoic love. Oh, if there's something there that I don't like, I don't want to look at, I'm going to leave. Or I'm going to want to find somebody else. And really, the truth is, we don't really find, we end up attracting the same type of partner with the same qualities because we haven't healed whatever that first person's quirk showed us. And so until we break that pattern, we're going to continue to attract that. And really be, once we're able to accept the person for all of who they are, there's such a more compassion and more love really to give.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You're reminding me of two statements that have been sort of, not my mantras, but I've always kept them close to me. And the one is that if I only ever tell you about me and I only ever ask you about you, we can't be in conflict because I'm not telling you who you are. I'm just telling you who I am.
Absolutely.
And if all I'm doing is asking you who you are so that I learn who you are, how can I fight with that? It's what you say to me. It's not my stuff.
Yes, that's huge. The moment you can realize that it's not your stuff, or knowing the difference between, okay, what's presenting for me to heal, but what's my partner's stuff. Another thing I learned about a year and a bit ago, or like this kind of idea to think about is thinking that our partner has a light switch they can flick on or off to adjust our emotions. We can barely control our own emotions, let alone think that we can flip a switch and change our partner's emotions. And when we can take our power back and take responsibility for what, like owning what we need, what we can contribute to any relationship and communicate what we need, that can change the game.
Absolutely.
1000%.
I was just thinking, I came in, I think it was last night, I was late, I was tired, I'd been racing around, my daughter's very sick, and just with a cold, but you know, everybody's getting one right now. And I was a little bit grumpy when I got home, and I came in and I noticed a couple of things were not done. Nobody was on the list to do them. There's just the two of us in our house, but it's, you know, not your job, my job. And so I was a little bit grumpy, and I could tell by the look on his face, he realized right away, And so he just, you know, asked a few polite questions, and I just, you know, monosyllabic, came back with, fine, good, yeah. And probably about a half an hour later, I went to him and I hugged him and I said, I'm sorry, I was just so tired, I was grumpy, and I came in and just, you know, just the vibe hit me wrong.
Absolutely.
And for his own safety, he didn't ask what vibe, because I might have listed
totally
the things that weren't done. But you know, ultimately, they didn't matter.
Yeah.
And I was just able to say to him, you know, thanks for just giving me, you know, time to take a beat and just say, what really matters here, the fact that he's here, that I'm here, that we have a beautiful home, and you know, our lovely puppies, and whatever, all of that stuff is in place that makes home what it is.
Yes, and what we really need.
Yeah, exactly. I'm free to do what I want, and you know, and I didn't have to sit there and be polite or rush to make dinner or whatever. I just said, I'm tired, I'm gonna go take a nap. And he said, have at her, babe.
Exactly, you know? That understanding, right? Yeah. And another thing is, like, back to the light switch and the emotions, and that is, they typically say your partner can accommodate or provide like 25% of your needs, but the other 75% of your needs need to be met by you. And just really like taking that direct force off of others and putting the power back onto you.
That's one of the things. I worked for the women's shelter for 5 years, and one of the things that I always believed, now this was almost 20 years ago, so it was a little bit of an uphill battle at that time, because my belief then was you are 100% responsible for your behavior.
Oh, 1000%.
And it would be like, you mean I'm to blame? No, not at all. Not at all. You are responsible for what you do with what's happening and what you do with your life.
Yeah.
So be conscious, make choices, and take
Exactly.
responsibility. And it was just amazing. There was, at that time, 20 years ago, there weren't a lot of people talking like that. And
Not
so
at all.
I wasn't what I would guess you might call successful at the time, because I was talking heresy.
Right.
You know, basically,
Yeah.
I was saying, you be responsible.
Yeah.
And at that point,
It was like a foreign term.
yeah. At that point, everybody wanted to still blame the
Others.
situation or others.
Yes,
Yeah. When in fact,
exactly.
instead of blaming, you had to flip it and find the solution.
Exactly.
I just watched the Fire Festival.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And the guy said, don't bring me problems, just bring me solutions. This is a solution zone. And I thought, you know, it's funny because you can go too far with
Yes,
that.
there's got to be some balance in everything. I think, or I like the word harmony.
Yes.
You know, finding that harmony. Things are going to be heavier weighted on certain sides at certain times in life, but it does all come back into that flow.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
Speaking of choices too, Marianne also speaks about how happiness is a choice. And, you know, she was even later talking to Oprah on a podcast about a return to love and the principles. And it's this concept of, you know, we look up at the sky on a gray day and we think, oh, it's gray, it's gross out. But if you were to get in a plane and go above the clouds, the sun is always shining.
Yeah.
So it's always there. It's just, you know, can you see it? And can we make that choice to see the good in things, to really make the choice to be happy with what we have,
Yeah.
and show that gratitude and be in love. And really, I think too, having that mindset, hey, people do things to us, absolutely, in life, you know, things happen, but there's that idea of, are things happening for you or to you?
Yeah.
And if you look at it as things are happening for you, again, there's so much power in that.
Absolutely.
Right? And,
Yes.
and forgiveness is huge.
Yes.
That's, again, a lot of that quantum change process and a lot of life is around forgiveness. And it's not letting people off the hook by any means. It's just saying, if you can forgive, you set yourself free.
Yes, absolutely.
It's about what you provide for yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a lot, to me, if you go even deeper with that, it's for forgiving yourself for not knowing what you didn't know.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we tend to blame ourselves for being in a situation where we get hurt or
Yes.
something bad happens, and then we're full of shame and guilt and upset.
Yeah.
And the
Such low vibrating
Absolutely.
emotions.
And
Yeah.
really, when you just, you know, accept
Yeah.
that you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
And when you do find out, if you could do better, you would do better. So when you find out, then it becomes...
Then you can change.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can change, you have choices. And you
Exactly.
can face things from a better perspective and from a better place within
Yeah,
yourself.
like a healthy spot. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So have you shared this book? Tell me when you read it.
I started it in the summertime. It took me most of the summer to read. I tend to read a few books at the same time. And I do firmly believe that when you open up a book and you know, pick up where you left off, things in your life are conspiring to get the messages that you need in that moment. So I actually have quite embraced the style of reading that I give, but yes, it was in the summertime.
I usually have about 10 books on the
Yeah,
go myself.
exactly.
And if you asked me what they were, I couldn't tell you, but they're all right there
Yeah.
beside me on the couch.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So then I wanted to know, have you shared this with any of your clients? Do you feel...
I haven't shared it with a ton of clients yet. No, I always like to share certain books depending on what they're working through at the time.
Yeah.
So I haven't quite attracted a client that this is directly aligned with, but I can definitely see a few different types of clients that'll come my way that I would absolutely love to share it with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You have to be where they are and give them the books
Yes,
that...
whatever resources are, I think, most aligned with what they're learning at that time in life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what has been so fascinating about this show for me, is that people that come with books that spoke to them, that a lot of them I've either read or heard of, but there's been some that just blew me away that weren't, you know, nobody's done Greg Braden yet, but they've done Joe Dispenza. Who,
Oh,
with,
yeah.
What's that? Program Your Brain, but that's not... That's not the right title, but
Yeah.
anyway, it doesn't matter. Joe Dispenza is amazing. But
Yeah.
I think that Marianne Williamson is fascinating because she's been around so long.
Yeah.
And it's been a real subtle message, you know, everybody's Deepak Chopra and Wayne Dyer and those people. But,
yes.
But Marianne Williamson has always just been steadily right there saying, it's about love.
Exactly.
You know?
And interestingly enough, I have to add to that, she just put out a beautiful message on, like it was a video that went viral on Facebook. She's, I'm not sure of the word, running for president.
I know, I think that's amazing.
It just,
whatever
gives
the
me
outcome.
goosebumps. Exactly. Just the fact that somebody has this true deep belief for more love in the world, I believe it could be a huge transformation.
Yeah, I totally agree, because that's what she's talking about, is the transformation that we need to make. About, you know, where we're at and what has been done to our perception of things, and how we need to change that and come back to what's good and true in our world that we need to uplift.
Well, I speak to that of literally, it's taking how a lot of the world is run right now in a fear mindset. Like, turn on the news, watch the news for 5 minutes, and all you'll see is fear impulsing messages, right? And what's going on consciously is one thing, but what we're taking in unconsciously is a whole different conversation.
Yeah, because it's not even the news anymore. It's to get the ratings, how fantastical can you make that news that's happening?
And to keep them enthralled, let's give them more fear and, you know, like paint that picture. So how powerful would it be to see things shift into more love and to see more good stories and positivity and people coming together, and the more love we can spread and give to the world, the more, like, what you give, you get, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if we're giving from a place of love, it'll just return tenfold.
Yes, absolutely. And I love that what you referred to in the very beginning, it was Nelson Mandela who read that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and he read it in his inauguration speech.
Yes.
And everybody went, oh, no, Nelson Mandela. And it was like, no.
No.
That was Marianne Williamson saying, you know, how can you be afraid of, what is the whole thing? I love it. It's got to be in the book, right? You look and I'll babble for a minute.
Yeah.
I really love what she said. What she says about being it's not about being afraid of what you can't do, but what we're really afraid of is who we really are, our power,
light.
And our brightest light. Yeah, it's so beautiful.
And I have to say too, on that note, as I'm skimming. So she also speaks to how everybody's looking for that fame. They want to be in the spotlight. They want to be in the light. But here's the thing. We all have the light within us. We've all been given everything we need to shine brightly right here as we are. And we don't need to be that Hollywood star, actor, or singer to be in the spotlight. Like, we are, as long as we're being who we were truly meant to be, serving our passions, serving our purposes, we're in our brightest light. But we have to step into it.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that to step into it, you have to be who you are and not think about where you want to end up with what you're doing. Just be who you are. Be the love that is within you. Love yourself first and then love others, and just be that.
Yeah.
And the thing of it is, it's so true. One person can change the world because you're changing your corner of the world. And as you change, others change around you. And as they change, others change around them. So it's a ripple effect. It's the whole, you know, butterfly flaps its wings on the other side of the world. You feel it over here. Well, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's why the call to return to love is so important, because it's about loving yourself. And that doesn't mean closing your eyes to who and what you are.
No.
It's knowing who you are, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, insane, the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm quirky, eccentric, the whole bit. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna, the way I'm gonna change is to keep growing.
Exactly, and keep shining the light despite And
what anybody else thinks.
Yeah, exactly.
This is
and we give each other permission to shine their light when we shine it. You know, I've got this eccentric laugh that you can hear from halls away, and you know, people really have come to recognize me for that. And you know, somebody was speaking at an event and they used me as an example, saying, you know, that loud laugh or your vibrant personality, yeah, that can potentially shine direction to somebody that at first might seem like, oh geez, like that's annoying, or you know, but it's that perception. Maybe we could look at it as them being their truest self is dragging attention to me to pay attention to that, because I've got something of that within me that I've been hiding, but that person is bringing it out, showing me what I have the potential for, and that I can be all of who I am too. So we're really just guiding others and being our unique selves.
That's right. That's right. So true. Yeah. Danielle, it's been such a pleasure to have you here, and I'm so glad you brought this book, because it really is a lovely book, and I thank you for your time. And I just want to thank my viewers for watching Epiphanies and joining me here with Danielle Reaume, who is a, you know what? Where'd I put that paper? I'm going to tell them again. Board certified NLP practitioner, timeline therapy, master of hypnotherapy. All our information is going to be on the screen, so you can get in touch with her, and don't forget to come back and watch Epiphanies again. Thanks for dropping in.